An essential characteristic of the SHR is the standardization. In our interpretation, standardization can be achieved by enforcing rule-based decisions. In this presentation I will show how the sales conditions of credit products can be changed in SHR only by modifying the product rules. I will also highlight why the rule-based concept means much more than simple parameterization. During the design of the system we have recognized that banking products can generally be described using logical rules. This methodological approach enables us to introduce even new credit products without involvement of programmers. Obviously, a real credit product can be represented by a set of complex rules. It is important that complex business rules are made of simple rules that can be interpreted individually. Based on our experience, this decomposition can always be done with the cooperation of the business departments. The definition of a simple rule containing a single rule segment is displayed on the screen in Excel format. The first sheet contains the identifier of the rule and the description that helps understanding it. The same sheet contains the evaluation expression of the rule. Currently this rule contains restrictions only for the legal status of the credit applicant company. Here we are looking at the product list screen. The main activity of the credit applicant here is tobacco retail. Its code is 4726. The green check mark indicates that based on the current rules the product is available. For the sake of the presentation let's imagine the following business request. From a certain date this credit product should generally not be available for companies having 4726 as their main activity code. At the same time the system should still provide support for exceptional cases, when the crediting is still to proceed for these companies, requiring authorization from an approver. It's important to realize that standardization is not compromised, since the creator of the rule controls the conditions for exception handling. This way, SHR can enforce that standard regulations are adhered to and SHR provides flexibility in a controlled way. I have performed the modification of the rule in advance. The changes in the worksheet are displayed on the screen. As you can see I have introduced a new rule segment on the first sheet at the rule evaluation expression. This is in a logical and relationship with the previous rule segment, so both the previous rule segment and the new one must be fulfilled at the same time. The new rule segment checks the activity code of the credit applicant and the identifiers of exception cases. The first use case of the rule is true if the main activity code of the applicant is not 4726. The second line is true if an exception case was requested. With this we have implemented the possibility for exceptional approval. There is no need for other development or programming. Now I am going to deploy the modified rule to the rule engine that is TCPS. This is the Rule Center interface used for deployment of TCPS rules, that is the administrative interface of the rule engine. TCPS is unique because of the fact that it can evaluate the rules in many different ways. Also a key differentiator of TCPS is that the rule modifications can be made effective according to a schedule. It is also important for auditing and testing that the rules versions can be evaluated, that have been effective in the past or will be in the future. Let's go back to the performed rule modification for a couple more ideas. You have probably noticed that we have introduced the condition of checking the activity code just like that, although previously this data did not affect the rule evaluation. How does the rule know what the value of the activity code is? We could do this because in the pre-filter the rules work on the full data model of the system. Each rule can access all available data. This unique characteristic makes it possible to implement new products purely by creating and modifying rules. There is no need for software development as long as the data required in rule evaluations is already available in the SHR system. You have probably noticed also that we could have specified the logical relations between conditions in several places. During a simple parameterization we can typically modify only values in a fixed structure. By contrast, the usage of TCPS rules gives us full freedom even regarding the logical structure of the condition set. The rule presented here is a small building block of the complex credit product. The complexity of the full composite rule is of similar transparency from a business point of view. It consists of rules that can be interpreted and tested separately. These rules are also connected by rules. Let's recheck now the credit request in the pre-filter. We can see that the product is not available anymore. Luckily, TCPS is able to answer why the evaluation of the logical expression results in false and what could be changed to make it true. In our case, the answer is that the condition could be fulfilled by requesting approval for this newly introduced exceptional case. The dynamic user interface of pre-filter enables SHR to manage the exceptional case. After requesting the exception case, the product will be available again until approval. After all pre-filtering tasks have finished, the approvers have to decide about the exceptions requested. I ask those in the audience working for IT to think about it, how much more this is than a simple parameter change. How long would have it taken to implement this modification, if we had to modify the program? For example, think about the evaluation of the reason of rejection. Using the same tools, we can customize many other rules, like the ones for pricing, for permissioning and for the limit evaluation. The efficiency of the rule-based approach comes from the fact that the frequently changing part of the system's logic is externalized into rules, therefore the testing of the system's functions and the underlying business rules can be separated during the user acceptance testing. The business department participates in the creation of business rules from the start. The use cases of a business rule have to be written by the business department with some coordinating activity from a business consultant. After each of the use cases are formulated as logical expressions by business consultants, the business department will perform proactive testing by defining exact expectations to each of the use cases. These unit test cases will be run and compared to the expectations automatically. As unit testing of the rules is independent of the application that is going to use them, the business tester can focus on business test cases. If the rules have to be changed because of any reason, it will be discovered in an early phase and fixed easily, enabling the model of an adaptive enterprise.